When something stops being fun, you have permission to stop. When something stops giving back to you in your life, you don't have to keep doing it. I have spent the last 12 years honing my life for autonomy. I stopped working for other people. I stopped working a 9 to 5. I started my business. I did it gradually. I tried to be careful with where my income was coming from and checking that I wasn't becoming too introverted in my business, because that is a failing of mine. I like to just lock myself down and get on with things, but having a wider perspective is really important. So my business has been with me for 12 years, and sometimes it's been really busy, sometimes it's been really, really quiet. And I've always tried to keep a balance on what do I enjoy, what do I want to do. Things were kind of going okay, and then things started to slide. We had the cost of living crisis, we've had the pandemic, and that has been quite a challenge for my business. So my business still exists, it still makes sales, but unlike a lot of people who run small businesses from home, particularly small craft businesses, mine cannot be the only thing that I earn my income from. I don't live with anybody. I don't have anyone else sharing my bills. I need to make enough money to keep a roof over my head, my bills paid, keep me out of debt. And so 2 years ago, I started to look at doing side hustles. I started to find out about what was a possibility. What could I do while I was still running my business? What could I do that didn't mean I had to go back into a 9 to 5 job? Because that was my most important concern. Not going back into the 9 to 5. Don't want to do it. How can I still stay self-employed and be self-sufficient? By the time I made this decision, I was using my savings to stay afloat, and my income went down to 9,000 a year before I used my savings, and that was my clincher moment. That was about 2.5 years ago, and we were right at the end of the pandemic. The cost of living crisis was kicking in. All these things were happening at once. Everything looked very uncertain, and I didn't want to be a martyr to my business, thinking I have to run this business, this is what my life has been leading to, I can't do anything else. So I allowed the business to drift as it was, because I feel like I'm coasting at the moment. We're waiting for things to improve, and I started doing the side hustles. So I started doing surveys and market research. I've taken on a small part-time cleaning job, which is entirely self-employed. If I don't want to work, I can say I don't want to work. If I'm going away, I say I'm going away. There is no restriction on how and when I do that. And through all the little things that I'm doing, I am now earning more money now than I was pre-pandemic. And I'm self-sufficient. I don't need to use my savings anymore. All my savings can now go towards protecting me for emergencies. I've been able to set up my first private pension. I have a stocks and shares ISA, so that I can build some sort of retirement, because I have nothing apart from the state pension, and that is not a good way to end up. And I've thought a lot about what do I call myself, because I always talk about myself as being a small business owner. I have my own website. I describe myself as a fashion designer or a clothing designer, but it's a very small part of my life now. And I stick to that title because it's just easier than saying, oh, well, I do YouTube, and I do surveys, and I do market research, and I do a bit of cleaning work, and I do this, and I do that. So I just say, yeah, I run my own little fashion design business, because it's just simpler, and it sounds more interesting, and why not? Why the hell not? But I've now come to the point where I know that this is not my main income. I can't now call this my main business. And I never want to feel like the business has become my enemy, that I'm stuck with this millstone around my neck that I have to slave for but doesn't pay me anything. and that if I have other interests that are paying better and are broadening my mind and I'm learning from, why shouldn't I be able to just go and do that? And that is the autonomy that I have actually been working towards these 12 years. It wasn't to be my own business and to just put my all into that and that was going to be my life. It was to be able to pick and choose what I wanted to do, when I wanted to do it, and not be at the beck and call of anyone else or anything else, and in this case, the business. So I am now happy to admit, and I finally agreed in my head that this is the way things are. My business is not my main income. My business is going back to being a side hustle. It's going back to being the creative outlet that it used to be when I was in my teens and my 20s and my 30s, before I decided to commit to it. It's now what it used to be, which is the thing that I go to for mental wellness. It's the thing that I go to because I just like to create, because I like to make clothes, but I don't want to have to make £15,000 worth every year, and I don't want to be a slave to the marketing and the advertising and Instagram and social media and Facebook and Twitter and all those other things. I don't want to do that, because that's taking away all that autonomy. I'm becoming a slave to the machine, and I don't want that. So the business exists. It will always exist. I'm on self-assessment. It's there in black and white. It's official, and it has been for 12 years. And I still have to do my self-assessment every year, show what I've earned, show what I've got in expenses, but all the other little side hustles also go into the same self-assessment. So what it looks like at the end, HMRC don't care. They just want to know if they're going to make any money out of me, which at the moment they still don't, because I'm probably earning, I reckon I was on about 14,500 last year, but there are expenses that go with businesses, and there's like travel expenses, and there's all sorts of things that you don't have to declare as well. I was on working tax credits last year. I've been migrated for a year to universal credit, so those don't have to be declared. There was government money that was coming in for the energy crisis and things like that. So there are all these little extra pots which go into my overall income but don't count on the HMRC section of it. So my self-assessment this year, overall gross will look great. I've earned more than I've spent. I've made a little profit. I've reinvested that. I have my emergency savings and my pension and my ISA, etc., etc., and I can pay into those. But for tax purposes, I am under the bracket. I am under that personal allowance. And I'm working to build on that. I do want to earn more money, but again, I don't want to be a slave to that machine. This is not about chasing massive incomes. This is about chasing enough income to be secure, to be comfortable, to not have to worry about money, to be able to have emergency savings funds and to be protected. It is also about being happy, being autonomous, having the best work-life balance, having freedom. I cannot stand being tied to regimes that stop me from doing anything that I want. I like the way I now live. That may sound strange to some people. I lead quite a frugal lifestyle. I'm really careful about what energy I use, how much I spend on food, things like that. But I enjoy that. I like that minimalist approach to life. It streamlines out all the rubbish. It takes out all the clutter that stresses out our lives and makes us unhappy. And I'm the most de-stressed I've ever been in my entire life. So that is my thought for the day. That is my comment for the day. That is my admittance. My business is now a side hustle again. And I don't mind that, because the other things that I'm doing, I also enjoy. I get to be creative at. My other main focus at the moment is my personal YouTube channel, which is now an income. And I love that I can make videos and edit videos, and I know how to upload videos, and I'm less nervous about being in front of the camera, and I'm making money out of it. People watch me in my day-to-day frugal life, and I'm making money out of it. Why shouldn't I enjoy that for the time that it's useful to me and it's what I need? So that's my update. My business is officially a side hustle again, and I don't have a problem with that. It's protecting my business. It means that it will continue to exist. If in a smaller way, it is still here. All this will still be here. It'll still be available to buy. I will still be making things, but there is now no pressure. There's no one telling me I have to earn X amount from my business. Doesn't matter to anybody else, does it? That's my update. Speak to you soon. Bye bye.